and this is Warden of Whitespire here. Here to talk to you about the latest changes. This is gonna be fucking huge. This is insane. Okay, I'm gonna do this a little bit different, just because there's so much to go through here, and not all of it is equally relevant. Let's start with the UI updates. First of all, daily challenge info to the play menu, totally fine. Let me just show you that real quick. It looks dope. Got here, challenge 1, challenge 2, rank, all your stuff around here, and you can see that my rank isn't actually that high. I spend way more time in the data than I do actually playing games. Check out that. We got a loadout. I'm just going to show you some of the UI stuff real quick. This is apparently pretty much the same. Although this might look a little bit different. I don't want to spoil myself, so I'm not going to get into the heroes just yet, because I haven't seen a lot of this just yet. Okay, so we reworked the dashboard navigation. Game round timer's slightly adjusted. Totally fine. Timer countdown bar to the top of the screen during prepare phase. Okay. Added a timer countdown bar to the top of the screen during prepare. What? How is that different? Let me just go into a bot match real quick. No, not tutorials, bot match. Yeah, easy bots is fine. I just want to look at what that means real quick. Oh, what? Okay. So this is new. Looks like the board itself looks a little bit nicer. The tiles, I mean, maybe that's just me. We're starting with 5 gold. Got a timer on the prepare phase. This all looks the same. Being honest. Is yours. Wait, what? Okay, so we're just gonna... No. We're just gonna look at this. Okay, so it... No one can match us. Yeah, good for me. I've got scaled. Yeah, still no timers up here. I kind of wish they would give at least some sort of timer on the top, so you know, like, this soft cap is coming. That is interesting. So it just gets right into it. Okay. Man, oh yeah, they changed the damage system, didn't they? We need to look at that here in a bit, too. So this is the repair phase. Hiya. Okay. 10 mana per second. Oh, thank you. Thank you for fixing that. That item was so weird. What in the world? Okay. So levels don't necessarily tell you how many units you get. So you get 3. Okay. That at least showed me what I wanted to see. So we're going to get back into the update. Lessened overlap issues between game timer and shop units. That, okay, I think I know what that's talking about, like right after the end of the fight, it just giving you a little bit more time, or it could be taking that away entirely. I don't think they're taking that away, because, like, that's sort of a core part of the game, especially for duos players, is being able to manipulate the board at the end of the time. Formatting changes to player-opponent lower corner info. Oh, damn it. I didn't even look at that. Player-opponent. Going back into the match. Yeah. Anders bot, Athena bot. Okay. Actually, come to think of it, where is all the information?
I endured much. Place me on the front. I am no one's prey.
So there's this. Where's all the, like, the damage info? Oh, it holds it. Until it's got something to show. Oh, that's obviously the Beastmaster item. Get it, Beastmaster. So 1 damage. Yeah, it looks like the damage largely, because I saw earlier that they changed the way the damage values work, but it looks like it largely adheres to what it used to do. Okay, Okay, so you get all this. You got your alliances, got your items. This whole thing does look a little bit cleaner. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's because there's not like this big moving asshole here.
Ready to hunt.
Okay, we're gonna get out of this though. If I need to see something else, I'll come back into it. But yeah, removed height bar from player opponent lower corner info. Wonder where that went. Formatting changes, updates, and bug fixes for tutorial copy design and flow. Might have to check out the tutorial. Updates to how to play in glossary. Let's see. How to play. Oh, probably to reflect some of the changes they made. Crystallis is new. Desolate. Oh, Desolator is a two-tier item. Nice. Okay. At the end of round 1 in Knockout, at the end of round 9 in... Okay. And then the glossary. Alliance Gold. Is there anything obviously different? It doesn't... I'm not seeing anything that's obviously different. Maybe it's changing some of the values. Because Ace, Alliance Gold, Hero rank. Yeah, rank 2 heroes. Oh, that's... Okay. Leveling up gives you several bonuses. Your crew count increases along with your level. Wait. They didn't fix this. At level 2, you can field 2 heroes? Okay, that might need to get patched again. That doesn't appear to have worked, but whatever. Where was I? Styles for Underlord taunt lines. Cool. Updates to Underlord detail view. I will go back into the thing later to work on that. Alignment issues, alliance icons to prevent clipping. Okay, so the rest of this is literally just UI stuff. There's no important stuff to talk about. This is kind of why I wanted to go up, because a lot of the really important stuff, for whatever reason, they always put at the bottom. Elusive has been removed from the game. Shaman has been removed from the game. Primordial is now a 2-4 alliance. I'm not sure like the first two I totally agree with. Shaman just didn't... Wait a minute. Hold on. Shaman didn't really add much unless you're Magnus, but that also raised an obvious question for me. What is Magnus? Where is Magnus? Oh, what? He's a... Shadow Shaman's a druid? What the fuck? Where's all the druids? Is Nature's Prophet? Am I fucking blind? Nature's... Oh no, they moved everything, didn't they? Fuck. Sven is now tier 4. Oh god, they changed everything. Oh, kill me. Alright. Shit. Okay. Did they just remove, like, a bunch of heroes? I have a feeling I'm going to read more about that in the patch. But before I do that, hold on. Rulebook, Alliances, Druids. Nature's Prophet is gone. Brutes. What the did they just remove Magnus straight up? Okay. Primordial, now a 2-4 alliance, the 3rd level removed from the game. This is all item stuff, so I'm going to skip over this, and we're going to go the other way on that. I do want to talk about this, though. Item changes. The item pool has been refreshed with a host of brand new items. All global items have been removed. Thank you. Because, honestly, most of the time, those items were just bad, and in the case of some of them, like Dawning of Ristool, buggy as shit. It was bad. The entire item pool now consists of hero equipment and contraptions. Mwah, thank you. Blightstone, gone. I don't like that. I like Blightstone. Brooch of the Martyr, gone. Don't like it. I like that item. It's awesome with demons. And as far as I can tell, it doesn't look like they've changed. Oh, the following heroes have been removed from the game in a hero rotation. I need to go look for what they did to Jail. Because I'm also not seeing a Jail icon anywhere. Did they kill Jail? No! You bastards. Helm of the Undying. Gone. Damn. Aegis of the Immortal. Thank you. Thank you. That was such a jank item. I really didn't like Aegis of the Immortal. I actually kind of liked that in duos, when you beat the shit out of someone, you knew that they would die. As opposed to in single player, where it's... Don't get me wrong, Aegis did actually have some legitimate strategy uses, but it was just really frustrating as a player to just absolutely clobber someone, and they're just like, I don't feel like dying. Root to the Aggressor, gone. Thank you. Celebratory Murder gone. The most useless item in the game, in my opinion. Thank you for removing it. Poaching Knife gone. Totally fine. Assassin's Veil. Thank you. Desperation is gone? Bracers of Desperation? Why? That was great. Daedalus is gone? Assault Cuirass is gone. I'm kind of sad by expanded roster being gone, but that's honestly fine. But we're going to talk about items later. We're going to start looking at some of this. Okay, I want to talk about Underlords. I do want to at least address this, but I'm not going to go into it quite yet. Oh, big time contract is now tier 1. Cool. Wait, what? Tier 1. Oh, is it just listing all of the stuff? Okay, so changes but it's basically a list. The following heroes have been removed from the game. Anti-Mage, okay. The Elusive. Arc Warden, the Shaman. Enigma, the Shaman. Lena? Why Lena? She was a human mage. That's weird. Luna, Elusive. Magnus, Shaman. Mirana, Elusive. Nature's Prophet, Shaman. Phantom Assassin, Elusive. Are we noticing a pattern? Puck, Elusive. Techies? The fuck? Templar Assassin, Elusive. Tidehunter. I don't understand the reasoning behind it, but I'm not particularly sad. He was kind of obnoxious. He was just ridiculously tanky and had one of the best lockdown abilities in the entire game. At least at tier 2. Wind Ranger, I don't care. But she's elusive, so it makes sense. So it looks like all of the elusives and shamans have either been changed or, honestly, more likely just straight up removed. And how many units is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14. And I know a couple have been added, or I think they have. So, hero rotation. Is this what we're replacing jail with? Okay, bots have been updated to work with your hero rotation. Bots intelligently select their Underlord when the time comes. Or for performing bot personalities have been redesigned for more stomping. What? I'm not sure what that last one means. Okay, so Jewel, Obgyn, and Essex obviously all changed. But I don't want to, again, we're going to talk about these specifics at the end. I want to talk about the big changes, and then we're going to get into the granular stuff, which is, again, why we're going up. Underlords have been changed based on community feedback. You don't start with an Underlord, you choose them on round 10. Hell yeah. Underlords have been streamlined into fight styles. Fight styles now contain a core ability, so the one they spam, and an ultimate. Cool. Underlord talent selection has been removed. Thank you. Some of the talents have been merged into the core Underlord abilities. See individual Underlord sections below. Yes, hype system has been removed. Thank you. It was so unnecessary. Underlord core abilities each start with 50% cooldown remaining. Oh, okay. So basically it's just, they're going to get into the mix faster. Nice. Ultimate ability cooldowns have been lowered and their power level increased. Yes. General changes. The Lords of White Spire leaderboard has been updated to support ranked, knockout, and duos. Fuck yes. You can now view stats from previous rounds in the post-game scoreboard. Thank you. You can now view the duos scoreboard on the post-game screen. Thank you. Knockout tries to avoid giving the same opponent twice in a row. Can we do that to duos? Please. For the love of God. I hate that in duos. That's like that is easily my least favorite thing about duos, is that occasionally you get one team that's super strong, and instead of like giving you someone else, they just flip which person in that team you're fighting, but it's still just as strong, so you're still going to get stomped. Most likely. Almost certainly you're still getting stomped. It's so frustrating. So you end up losing like 60 health in 2 rounds, and you're just like, what the fuck? The multiplayer for, sorry, the multiplier for permanent stat changes in Knockout, Brawny or Legion duels is now 4 instead of 5. Cool. Oh, there was a multiplier. Nice. Okay, that's good to know. That's actually really good to know. Got my T. Standard duo mode flow changes. Starting unit caps changed from 1 to 3. Dope. Players start with 5 gold. And keep in mind, like we showed you in the bot match I was starting up, just to look at things. You start with 3. You start at 5 gold. And you just get right into the mix. There's no early neutral rounds. You just get right into it. Interest is now capped at 3. Okay. So 30 gold is the new 50. There's no point in keeping it past that. Round gold increased from 5 to 7. Creep rounds have been removed. Oh, they're gone, like entirely. Oh, interesting. Okay, so I'm gonna stop here for a second because I just want to talk about this. Players start with 5 gold. Round gold increased from 5 to 7. That's crazy. Okay. Didn't I see it give me like 4 gold in the second round though? Maybe I was spent something and didn't think about it. Okay. I need to look at exactly how that works, but yeah, this sounds like it's just there's 2 things I'm seeing. Open forting seems pretty good actually, because think about it. You start at 7, and that means I can start getting, if I just open totally naked, start with 5, get 7, now I'm at 12, now I've got an extra 1, right? So that's 8 gold coming, so then I'm at 20 on round 3. Then I'm at 29 by round 4, X9 that. Although that doesn't matter because I'm going to have an empty board. But it means by round 5 I'm at maximum income. And then I can start pumping out units faster than anyone else. So because, like, that's obviously going to cost you a pretty penny in health, but nobody's going to be able to stop you from doing that because the damage is going to remain the same. In fact, this gives you more leeway because you don't have to spend 3 rounds on creeps. I think open forting might be back with this change. I think open forting might be back. You can take a little more damage doing this than you would have before, I think. But since everyone is capped at 30, it means you don't have to go as far. Because by round 5, you're set. You're in it, you're set, you're good. Okay. Items are granted every 5 rounds. Nice. Item quality does not change if you win or lose the round. It'd be really funny if it did, though. Underlords are no... Yeah, okay. Later into the match, round 10. Higher... Okay, yeah. This is what I was talking about earlier when I was saying that the round damage is different now. 1-star unit, power level, equals tier. Wait, what? 1-star unit power level... So a 1-star unit equals tier. As in tier 2? Unit damage... Okay, so this is power level. The stars, right? Unit damage is now 1 plus... So, like, this divided by 3. So, only 1 point, even potentially, is coming from your power level, and the rest of it's your... I don't fully understand what this equation they're giving me is. Maybe I'm just stupid, but it doesn't seem like what they're presenting makes complete sense. Because this equation doesn't... Why is it 1? Is that supposed to be like a stand-in for their tier? I think that's right. But that really means that the unit, like the star point, is really only a secondary consideration. Maybe it rounds up? I don't know. All I know is it seems like this doesn't really, from what I understand, this doesn't fully take effect until, like... Or are these all separate equations? Okay, maybe I'm understanding this correctly. So, it doesn't consider this on a 1-star. So, if you're a 1-star unit, your tier is what's used to determine your damage. If you're a 2-star unit, you get your tier plus 2. And if you're a 3-star unit, you get your tier plus 4. Damn. Doesn't that mean like 4-cost units are going to be like doing some serious damage? They're really 3-cost units. Because that would end up being like 7 damage. Interesting. I want to do some experimenting with it. See what exactly it does. Because I'm not sure I fully understand this equation. It's a simple equation, but it doesn't seem to flow the way I'm expecting it to. So, yeah. We just make sure we're not missing anything up here. In fact, yeah, why don't we go through this real quick? And then we'll go into the nitty-gritty stuff. JULL. Yeah. Yeah, big boy. I was expecting this guy on Thursday. We got it today. I'm excited. Happy holidays, Underlords. Some big changes and updates for you all today. We're introducing a new Underlord, bringing a new rotation of items and making some significant gameplay changes. There's a bunch to cover, so let's get into it. As always, if you prefer your updates in bullet point form, go check out the patch notes, which is down below. The proprietor of the infamous Sundered Moon. JULL is a businessman first and a criminal second. Did he break a few legs to get where he is? Yes. Does he run a massive smuggling operation to ensure that his bar is stocked with the finest beverage that Ice Rack is renowned for? Of course. But while JULL has little interest in following the law, he takes great pride in honoring his word. In the wake of Mama Eve's death, he feels like he alone has the temperament and strength to restore order to the criminal underworld of Whitespire. Oh boy, get it, JULL. JULL leads by example and prefers to get his paws dirty with powerful melee attacks on the front line. Oh, thank you, there's an actual tank. Thank you. When things get tough, JULL uses his bootlegged wares to gain an edge, either by rolling barrels into enemies or raising his glass to inspire his crew. Yeah, that inspires me, watching you drink port. With this update, the item roster has also been revamped. Many old standbys have been shelved, though you may be seeing them again in the future. Yeah, that makes sense. While others have been pulled out of storage, new items like Crystallis, Butterfly, and Horn of the Alpha can now be equipped to buff your crew and defeat your opponents. We'll talk more about these later, but let's just have a look. Offensive item, 35 attack damage. Cool. 35 attack speed. Cool. 35 evasion. Interesting. All the usual suspects would pretty much love this. Honestly, this is pretty good. Yeah, the kiddos love this thing. Horn of the Alpha. 2 seconds after the battle begins, summon a powerful Thunderhide champion. So you can turn anyone into fucking Lone Druid. Okay, cool. Oh my god. Can you imagine if summon upgrades were still a thing with this? That'd be funny. Over the course of our beta season, we worked to continuously experiment, learn, iterate, and improve the game. The time since our last big update has been no different, and with this update, we've made some significant changes based on community feedback, as well as what we've learned internally and tested. Yeah, new selection flow, turn 10. It'll show you this screen. Looks like these are their ults. Oh, so you don't get to choose their ult anymore. Interesting. I wonder if these change. Maybe there's more than one. Okay, jailbreak. The jail system was introduced. Oh no, they are getting rid of it. The jail system was introduced to solve a few problems, namely to make it easier to combine units with our ever-expanding roster of heroes. While this was accomplished, there were a bunch of unintended side effects. It wreaked havoc on some of our balance tweaks, kept players from playing their favorite heroes and alliances, and many players didn't enjoy having to No! Fuck. Thank you. Okay, that's why we've decided to shut down the rookery and release all the inmates indefinitely. Man, the heroes that are in the game will always be hireable in the shop, and players won't have to worry about their favorite alliances being crippled just because of a bad jail day. Fuck, I hate this so much. Alright. And it's not just because I've spent so much time on the jail information. The reason I spent so much time on the jail information is because I loved the jail. I thought it was a great idea. Whitespire still does have an overpopulation problem. To solve this, a few heroes have been booted from Whitespire for now. As we mentioned at the very beginning of our beta season, we intend to have a hero rotation every season, and we're getting ready for Season 1 with our first rotation. After plenty of testing and feedback, we came up with a slimmed-down set of heroes to build your crew with. Not to worry, you may still be seeing some new and familiar faces when Season 1 ships. So we're just doing seasonal rotations. Fucking lame. I'm sorry, that's lame. I don't like that. It every day felt new and interesting. And I'm sorry, the people that were complaining about it, I don't want to check it every day. Fuck you. You've got to be kidding me. It was so good. Every single day felt like new challenges. Like I would sit there and look at the jail, figure out the best build for the day, figure out like the best set of options. Like for duos, this was especially fun because me and my partner would sit down together and figure out what's going on, decide on our builds for the day, like what we were going to be looking at and like accomplishing for those matches, and do it. And it was a good way of actively going at the metagame. It was fun. It was interesting. This sucks, at least in my opinion. This does not. Shorter standard and duos matches. We've made major changes to standard and duos game flows to make the games overall shorter. We've taken what we learned from Knockout internal testing and from our community at large to make games shorter and more fun. To accomplish this, matches are now jump-started with all players at level 3 with 5 gold. We removed creeps and reduced hero HP by 25%. Loot rounds now happen during normal PvP rounds, but your item choices won't be affected by whether you won or lost. The team has been having a great time playing the updated standard mode. We've seen a significant decrease in match time, down to an average of 30 minutes. Mwah! That's beautiful. That makes it way easier to justify, like, putting in a match or two. Because this is supposed to be like a cut-down example of Dota mechanics. A very cut-down example of Dota mechanics. So it shouldn't be taking as long as a fucking Dota match. It really shouldn't. This is good. This is not. This is. Polish. Last and most definitely not least, the team has put a bunch of time to polishing UI. I noticed that, actually. There was a lot of things that just seemed cleaner. Fixing crashes, optimizing effects, and squishing bugs. For a full breakdown of these changes and all other changes listed above, check out the patch notes, which is what we're about to do. That's it. Happy holidays, and see you in Whitespire. My jail. Fine, I suppose. Pure pain removed from the game. That was the first thing I saw. Okay. Interesting. So how do these get selected now? That's interesting to me. Martyr's Boon. An Essex takes damage equal to 20% of a max health. All allied units heal 20, 25, 30, 40, 45. And then that jump at 80. How do we... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Interesting. I wonder what the intervals are on, like, when it goes up. Hit points a second. Cooldown changed from 12.5 to 8. Cool. Okay, so that was a 75% uptime before. Okay, so it's still 75% uptime. I'm sorry, no, 66. So the uptime is actually higher now. So this is a buff, actually. Interesting. Healing support fighting style. Mortar's Boon now delivers the first 50% of the heal immediately, and the rest over the duration of the spell. Interesting. So, really, this is 10. And so the first level of it would actually be 10 per second for 6 seconds, so 60. And then 60 up front, so a total of 120. Okay. Damn it. Oh, so you choose your fighting style. Instead of healing... Oh, that's what we were seeing up here. Oh, okay. So that was the healing support fighting style. So there's like 2 styles that you're going to get to draft from each one. So you're not going to be always able to get the one you're looking for on each one. Okay, cool. So this is the healing support. That's the damage support. Enthrall versus... Okay. Oh. So if you do the damage support, she doesn't even heal. She just straight up attack. Okay. Fascinating. Enthrall, a Nesix marks the target 5 seconds, reduces the target's armor by 5, forces your armor to attack it. Yep. If the target dies, brings them back as a demon to fight for her. I wonder if they get the demon silence and hit bonus. Cooldown changed from 23 to 15. Cool. So this is the healing support. You summon the demonic golem, crash behind enemy lines, stunning... Oh, it starts with that ability. Interesting. Cooldown, yep. Armor changed 5-0. Oh, shit. Oh, that's right, but you get it from the start, huh? Interesting. Maximum health changed from 3,000, 6,000 to this progression. Man, they really nerfed it. I suppose it does come with a disable, so can't really blame them. Okay, so now we know each Underlord has 2 styles to pick from. Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure quite what this meant, if I was being honest. Okay. So there's the core ability, which is Martyr's Boon and Explosivo. Supercharge has apparently been removed. Okay. Damn, I liked that move. I actually like it better than Explosivo, if I'm being totally honest. High damage dealer. Okay, so you get the Explosivo doubling from that, and support damage dealer. Enemies hit or stunned. Oh. Oh, that's both good. Okay. So the support damage dealer gets the stun. Yep. Hobgins now reach the entire battlefield, and your army gains increased attack speed. Hobgin will continually switch between targets to try and maintain the fire debuff on everything. Granted via support. Yep. No longer silences Hobgin. That's important. Grants your entire army attack speed. Lots of attack speed, actually. Cooldown changed from 22 to 10. Okay. Let's Go Crazy looks pretty good now. Friendly fire. Okay. Hobgin's buddies throw 8 bombs on the battlefield, dealing damage. Enemies directly hit. Enemies caught in the explosion take half damage, and I think they're also set on fire. So there's that. That seems to work pretty much the same as it did before. This works different, so Explosivo and Let's Go Crazy are both better. Hobgin and Essex both look pretty good. I still think Hobgin has an edge right now. JULL. So this is the new one. This is the important stuff. Everything else is interesting, but this is the important stuff. JULL reflects 50%, and this is his basic ability. This is his, what is it called? Not the ultimate, the core ability. This is his core ability. Shake It Off. JULL reflects, let me just, bam. JULL reflects 50% of melee damage taken back to all adjacent enemy units and heals for 30% of melee damage and 15% of range damage taken over the last 5 seconds. Assuming it doesn't take 20 years for him to cast the spell like they made Hobgin do, that's an awesome spell. Man, reflects 50% of melee damage taken back at all adjacent enemy units. That's so annoying. And heals for 30% of it. So, 30% goes into his health pool. 50% goes back on the enemy's face. And 15% of the range damage also goes into his health pool. That's just frustrating. The reflected damage is now delivered over 8 seconds instead of instantly, but deals twice as much damage. So 100% of the melee damage is what we're saying. Okay. Healing tank fighting style. Damage is also converted into healing split evenly to adjacent friendlies. Ooh. But it increases the cooldown. Or wait, no? That doesn't make any sense. What? It didn't tell me the cooldowns. Hold on. Underlords.
We will fight, we will win, and we will drink.
Wait, what? Passive ability.
You got to look at some.
Oh, right. So, fire,
Pick me, my friend.
armor per adjacent enemy in her companion. Okay.
Actions speak louder than words.
I think both of these are 10-second cooldown. Yeah, reflects 100% and heals himself. Yeah, okay. Okay. Weird.
Who wants to burn something?
Barrels of Fun. I think they're both cooldown 10 seconds. In fact, I'm pretty sure the cooldown here is also 10 seconds. Huh. It's annoying that they don't tell me all that. JULL calls in barrels from the edges of the board. If they hit an ally, they gain 50% attack speed. If they hit an enemy, they take 100, 200, 300. Yeah, you get it? Physical damage and receive 20% more magical and physical damage for the rest of the fight. Hold on one second. Never mind. It looks like the dog shut up. Physical damage for the rest of the fight, granted via aggressive tank fighting style. Okay. Cool. So, so it's support and damage. Interesting. Do you want it to hit you or the enemy? Okay, so they get a permanent debuff and they take damage. I wonder if they take I wonder if they get that debuff first and then take the damage. Like, is the magic damage there 100 or is it 120? Because of the 20% debuff. Not that that makes a huge difference, at least not until the higher levels, but still. And if they hit an ally, all they get is 50% attack speed. That is a lot of attack speed. I still think it's probably better to hit the enemy, though. How many barrels, though? Does it say by chance?
Time to break a few legs.
Just calls in barrels. Okay. Weird.
What do you say we go find something?
Happy hour. Jewel buys a round for all members of your army. When taking damage, 30% of it is received immediately, and the rest is taken over 7.0 seconds. So it's sort of like the effect of Kunkka's boat in Dota. That gives him a chance to heal them up. I'm not sure how good that is, because you still take the damage. Cooldown 10 seconds. But it does make it very difficult to nuke someone. Maybe that's the real effect, is that it just makes it impossible to nuke them. So in a healing comp, that's awesome. In a non-healing comp, it buys them a few seconds. Which is useful, but it's not amazing. Interesting. Broodmother. Yeah, I think there's not a whole lot to say here just yet, because I don't know a huge amount about Jewel. We'll just need to see. I don't know where exactly he fits yet. Because he doesn't seem to be doing a whole bunch of, crowd control. He's just sort of a big dude that takes a bunch of damage and heals, and that's useful. But where exactly that fits is going to be something we're going to have to figure out over time. Okay. Hero changes. Broodmother, gold cost change from 4 to 3. What is this again? Oh, yeah. Broodmother. Heroes. Broodmother is now a tier 3, so when they say gold cost change, what they mean is tier change. Okay. Maximum health changed from 15... Oh, okay, so they nerfed her HP pool a little bit. Not even that much, honestly. I mean, okay. That's it. 600's a big deal. 300, less so. And she's still a good unit. If everything else is still the same, it's a good unit. Clockwork. Ah. 2 cost. Thank you. That's nice. Attack rate nerfed. Armor nerfed. Aw. That kind of makes me sad. I kind of wish they made Tinker 2 cost instead. Attack damage changed from... Okay, so a small nerf to his attack damage. Though he hits about as hard, he takes hits significantly worse now. And his attack rate... The attack rate's less important because his attack rate was never that amazing in the first place. And he never did a huge amount of damage. Even at tier 3, that's not amazing. It's not bad, but it's not amazing. So really, I think the biggest change here is the armor change. He's still tanky as hell, but he's not quite as tanky as hell. Legion Commander is now 2 cost. Mwah. That's going to make her much nicer. Much easier to fit in. Because I agree with the initial assessment that everyone had that making her 3 cost is great design. And it is, but she kind of needs to be 3-starred to be valuable. So, and you might say, well, that means she needs to be 3 cost, right? Because that's the most consistent point where you're going to be seeing this unit a ton, so you can 3-star it and then put it on the board. But at 3, A, she costs too much. B, she did too little while you were building her up. C, you can't see her early enough. And D, the effect really needs to be built on from the start. Like, you need to be doing a Legion Commander build to effectively move her. So, yeah. That's... I don't have a huge amount to say. I will talk about her some other time, because I find her fascinating. I've never been able to use her effectively, but I want to. Shadow Shaman. Yep. Troll Shaman to Troll Druid. Totally fine. 4/6/8, 4/5/6. That is deserved. It's very deserved. His 3 cost was his 3-star was obnoxious to deal with in certain situations. Even his 2-star was obnoxious. Like, you get 2 2-star Shadow Shamans, that's 12 seconds of debuff on 2 different units. Now, the difference becomes not nearly as substantial. That's a 50% increase. That is a 25% increase. This is a much bigger nerf than it looks like, especially to his 2 cost. That's the biggest hit, honestly. His 2-star unit is significantly worse. That's not saying a lot. It's still pretty good, at least in the early game, but he's not nearly as consistent. And now he can get to his 3-star more often because of his Druid tag. So, you know, give and take. But it does mean running 2 Shadow Shamans, not nearly as useful. This is overall definitely a nerf to Shadow Shaman. Which is crazy to say, because he was a bit underplayed as it was. But Slark, interesting. Interesting. Okay. Okay, so now he's a tier 4. His max health kind of went up. It's mostly on his tier 2 that this matters, or his 2-star that this matters, because the tier 1 Slark was bad before. It's bad now. Okay, just is what it is. But his attack speed changes are still. This is a significant buff. Like, this is not a 3 to 4 buff. This is a straight up buff to Slark. And they didn't change his 3-star at all, as far as health. So he's a little bit more consistent at 1 and 2-star, and just way stronger. Especially if we're talking about on-hit effects, like lifesteal. Now he's even better with Mask of Madness. The reason I like this is actually quite simple. Deciding whether or not you were running Slark came before you found out whether or not you had Mask of Madness most of the time. So, if you find Mask of Madness, you can build into Slark. If you don't find Mask of Madness, you don't build into Slark because it doesn't work properly without it. It's just kind of the way it is. Snapfire no longer triggers Refresher Orb. That's actually a buff, isn't it? I mean, it's really a fix, if anything, because it's not that kind of skill, but it needs to proc Refresher. But this is actually stopping Scatterblast from just blocking Snapfire from being able to nuke everything. Sven moving from 5 to 4. Oh. Is this a... I think this is actually a buff. Like a pretty big one, too, actually. Let's look at Sven real quick. If I go to Rulebook, Heroes, Tier 4... Man, they did streamline this. Look at this. These two were, like, all on the same screen. God Strength, yep, he enrages. So he still has Cleave and God Strength, but he no longer destroys Knights. Like, he's actually... Oh, Knights is now a 6-unit comp. That's right, Luna's gone. Oh, buddy. And they didn't change Knights at all? Oh, okay. We're not even going to touch that for the moment. Viper changed from Scaled Dragon to Dragon Assassin. Wait, wasn't that what he used to be? Huh. Okay, so now he went from Scrappy Elusive Insect. So, useful tag, useless tag, useful tag, to useful tag, useful tag, useful tag. Okay, Weaver is buffed. Viper, I kind of liked having him as a Scaled Dragon, honestly. I'm not sure this is a buff, but it means he hops around now, so that's kind of cool. Man, they removed a lot of items. This looks way streamlined from where it used to be. Again, I'm not pleased about the GL changes, but the rest of this is fine. Big Time Contract. Tier change from 2 to 1, no longer grants bonus health. Totally fine. BTC is now back to where it used to be, and that is fine with me. The giant builds are inherently early game and snowbally, and you kind of needed to get big time contract ASAP. So if this helps you do that, I'm down. Headdress, new headdress. Units within 1 cell of the equipped hero gain 20 health per second. Huh. So you're like a mobile healing ward? That's kind of cool. You also get the health per second, right? I mean, you're wearing it. It wouldn't make any sense if you didn't. Morbid Mask. Mwah. Finally, some sort of lifesteal that isn't just Mask of Madness. We needed this. Because if you don't find Mask, there are certain builds that just suck. So, doubling the opportunities to get something that does this is good. Kaya, I'm all about it. There are certain heroes that look at this and say just, so good, give it yummy yummy in my tummy. They're just going to use Kaya the entire game. Talisman Evasion, it's 20% damage reduction, kind of. Because 20% is still at that point where you just get unlucky sometimes, and nothing happens. Vitality Booster, that's in line with the health changes, totally fine. Void Stone, 10 mana per second. Oh, that's actually nice. Arcane Boots got buffed. Okay. Barricade from 800 to 600. Can we please remove this item? It's so bad. Dude, I'm sorry. It's so bad. It doesn't... It controls the flow of the battle sometimes. Like, if you're using it totally defensively, in certain situations, it can be not atrociously bad all the time. But, I don't know. I still don't like this item, and this is worse. Because the attack values have remained the same. So lowering the health pool literally just means things die faster. This just means things die faster. So Barricade receiving this just makes it worse than it used to be. Okay. Blink Dagger, same. Crystallis, dope. 25% or 25 attack damage, cool. That's not a lot, really, but it's fine. It's actually worse than Claymore in that respect, but you get a 20% chance to critical hit. And when it comes to 200% damage critical hit, you really should just read this as 20% extra damage. So, it's, like, honestly, it's not that different from Gloves of Haste, if I'm being totally straight. Seriously, when you do the math, 20% chance to critical hit for 200% damage literally is just double damage 20% of the time. That's just 20% damage increase. But you get the attack damage. Does that even matter? Like, hold on. Let's talk about like a 2-cost unit at tier 2. How about something... I don't know, who's someone that I would want to put some sort of crit on? You know what? CK. DPS, 135. So 150. Let's just do some real quick and dirty math, because let's be fair to him. Let's give it to someone that actually wants to use crits, and CK would totally work with that because of his high variable attack rates. So sometimes he just absolutely slaps the crap out of you. And he's a demon. Demon still works the same, right? Yeah. So we'll say 100% damage bonus. So CK. So this is like an ideal unit to put it on. It is a tier 2 thing. Right? Tier 2? Yeah, okay. Going on a tier 2 unit that wants to use it. So this is a fair comparison. We got what a consideration we got. Demon, 2-star, and what was the attack DPS? So we're looking at 160-ish. Wait, no. Hold on, no. Not quite, because 0.77, we're going to call that 3/4. Even though it's not quite. So 25, 3/4. That is 15, 16. We'll call it 17 extra damage. 135 plus 17 is 142, 152. Okay, so on average, 152 DPS. if we were talking about that, so a crit would be 300 and I'm sorry, no. Yeah, wait. 304. In fact, I'm going to just mitigate these. 150, 300, just make this math real simple. With Demon, call that 300, 600. Interesting. So in this particular case, with this particular unit, I think you can justify that item. But I think in most situations, this is the kind of item that I feel like is abusable by some units, but most of the time, like if you've got, I don't know, Dazzle, who cares? Just kind of straight up, who cares? It wasn't that great before, it's not going to be that great now, and the only time this is even has the potential to hyperchain is either with demons to get those huge spikes, because you're already getting the big demon bonus, and then you smack someone with, a crit, and you get a huge crit. And CK might be a little bit unfair because he has the potential to already kind of crit because of his extreme variance on his strikes, on top of demon, on top of now a crit item. So, on him, I think it's good. But crits in general are, even with Assassins, they decided that the double damage crit wasn't good enough. Even basic Assassins gives you more than that. Because that's not, when I look at that 15% critical chance is not 15% extra damage. It's more than that. Because of the extra, it's effectively 3 hits instead of 2. So it's 50% more. So this is more like a 22% damage increase. It's even more for the next one with 4 strikes. So that's more like a 50% damage increase. It's a big deal. Anyway, this item is okay. It's not amazing. I think on most units, it ends up being around the same level as Gloves of Haste, a little bit higher. If I'm being fair, it is more powerful than Gloves of Haste, but not by a lot, honestly. Now, Desolator, interesting. Attack target loses 5 armor for 5 seconds. So I think this is what they're using to replace Blightstone. So it's a bigger minus armor. Nice. Lasts longer. Nice. And if I'm not mistaken from what Blightstone was doing, probably stacks. So I am down. Force Staff still kind of sucks. Hand of Midas, 30 attack speed, 30% chance of getting 1 gold whenever equipped hero kills an enemy. You'd have to kill so many things. And what do we mean by do primordials count? Is one of the questions I have. Because if it does, I'm seeing Bloodseeker sweeping. This is a Bloodseeker item. This is an item for someone that takes a lot of kills. So I'm thinking someone like Bloodseeker. I'm thinking someone like Sniper could use this pretty effectively because he gets a lot of last hits. Basically, anyone that you think is going to get last hits a lot, give this to them because it'll get you more gold. And especially with the changes they've made, if you can turn this Hand of Midas into a gold advantage, you have a massive edge. This is a potentially game-breaking item in certain circumstances with certain heroes. But I think most of the time it's basically also a slightly better Gloves of Haste. Because if you put it on a unit just because you want attack speed, and they're not actually getting last hits, it's literally a Gloves of Haste, with like slightly bigger. But Orb of Venom. Enemies damaged by the equipped hero's attacks take 30 damage per second for 3 seconds. This is a brute item. Because the problem with this is, I don't think it stacks. And I want to check that actually right now. Training, freestyle, start. We're bored. Okay, just to make sure. And I need an orb of venom. We are going to come over here, and you know what? Sure. Actually, no, I need birds. Birds. First, I'm gonna take a. Well, you know what? No. Okay. I'm gonna get a life stealer. I need barricade because I just want to see how it works the first time. I need an axe. Stick in here. Okay. Bam. I'm mostly interested to see how this stacks up, because it looks like it's actually doing quite a bit of damage. And remember this, because I want to. Basically, what I'm going to do is when this is all over, I'm effectively going to split the orb of venom damage by into a third. Actually, let me just open up my journal real quick so I can record this. So, what did the final damage end up being? Okay, 2100. 3. 700. Okay. So if it stacks, yeah, stop. We're just gonna sell you. Sell. Okay. And this is just going to be a man fight between these two, and I'm actually gonna. I really want to focus on the damage that it's doing. Actually, no, what am I talking about? Hold on. Yeah, this seems to be going up in regular intervals. Yeah, this. I know that wasn't a really scientific test, because there's obviously some flaws, like how much time it's being given to tick and all that, but unless I'm massively mistaken, this really just looks like it doesn't seem to stack, is what I'm saying. I need to do some better testing to verify that for sure. I don't think it stacks. Okay. Stonehall Pike. Equipped hero deals +4 damage for every unit they've killed. Huh. Like, permanently? Oh. I know, okay, I know we were just here. You know what? Hold on. Stonehall Pike. So, starts with 175. This changes nothing. Any primordials? Yep. Boom, boom, boom. Again, not purely scientific, because I don't know if this works the same in a normal match as it does here. So yeah, he's got 4. Ah, shit. Huh. Wait. Does he get the 4 now? Okay, hold up. We need to stop. Get out of here. First you. Yeah, so it's using. It does collect from primordials. Interesting. But unless this transfers, I really don't see how that's useful. Like, I'll be honest, I'm not convinced this is a useful item at all. Again, unless it transfers round to round. I guess I could do a dev mode bot match. What's this? Huh. Okay. Yeah, every equipped hero gets 50 health for every unit they've killed. Is this really just like are these just knockout items? Because in knockout, if it's just if it's like inside the round, an extra 200 health is pretty good. Also, is that a heal? Okay, again, I'm sorry for doing this, but I have to. This is for me too. So we're gonna. Who do we want to kill? Shit, I need something. Ah, shit. Who's the big boy now? Ah, fuck. Abaddon's pretty tough. We're gonna give it to him. So he doesn't have any healing. Wait, what? Oh, that's the. I'm an idiot. I'm dumb. Okay, hold on. Wrong item. Okay, so I should. Does it do healing? Hmm? Oh, okay. Wait, did it do the? Can you work properly, please? Weird. What if it doesn't count it as healing, that's for sure. Yeah, it seems like it's giving him like the total health pool and the missing health, but only when he takes damage. That's wild. Okay. Okay. I don't. Okay, that's way too much if it's round over round. But it's not really enough if it's just internal to the round. Okay. I don't know how I feel about that. These don't sound good, but maybe I'm an idiot. Vanguard remains basically unchanged, honestly. You get Vanguard for the effect, not for the health. Okay. Blade Mail is now tier 3. Oh, thank you. Thank you for giving armor. Holy crap, I needed that. Battle Fury is still in the game. Wait. Battle Fury. Were you always tier 3? I thought you were tier 4 or something? Am I crazy? Okay, whatever. I think it was tier 3. I'm an idiot. Maelstrom, yep, lifesteal changed from 20 to 15%. That's totally fine. It gives a little more room for Morbid Mask on certain units. So that if you want lifesteal, but you don't want to be silenced, you know, a little bit of a trade-off there. More lifesteal up there, more attack speed down here. 5 mana per second whenever a unit attacks the equipped hero. It gets cycloned, becoming invulnerable for 20. Whenever a unit attacks the equipped hero. Wait, do I get cycloned? Or do you get cycloned? God, really, guys? The terrible wording. Seriously. Yule Scepter. Okay, they get cycloned. Cool. That
What's a
is
little
what I wanted to
arson
know.
between friends?
Octar in essence, that's fine. Heal increased. Oh, shit. So Mechanism actually got better by a significant amount. Because there's less health, so healing per point is now more valuable than it was before. Unless you go to the max, in which case it's less valuable, or the same. But, so Mechanism is actually significantly better. That's a 50% increase in a meta where they decrease the overall health pool by 25%. That's pretty good. I think Mechanism is on the map. I wish it gave some armor, is what I wish. Like maybe only like 2 armor for the user. That would be great. But it doesn't, and it's still good. Silver Edge, 30 attack speed, 300 health. Whenever an equipped unit attacks a unit, whenever an equipped unit, hero, whenever an equipped hero, learn English, attacks a unit, break that unit for 5 seconds. Break, because it doesn't hit alliances anymore, break still isn't very good, honestly. This is fine. Really, on some units, this is useful. I would say on brutes, this becomes significantly more useful because they're going to hit more stuff. This is really the most applicable against things like assassins that use a lot of passive bonuses. But against most comps, it's not that great, honestly. You're basically just silencing passive effects. That's what break is. It's a silence for passive effects. There's not actually that many passive effects in the game. So, especially not on the front lines. It's okay. This, to me, looks like a brute item. Specifically brute. Anything that needs to be spread over a large number of units is, in my opinion, basically for brute specifically, and maybe some edge case. There's like some edge case argument for other stuff. But with a brute specifically, this item's okay. And really only okay. Skull Basher, it's fine. Target Buddy got nerfed. Okay. I can see that they are making zero effort to make contraptions good. Because, seriously, you guys should have. If you had left the contraptions alone and changed the health of everything else, at least then you could make an argument for it. But now Target Buddy isn't even. Because before, Target Buddy was basically a level 1 Tide Hunter. That's what Target Buddy was. It was just a fat body up front with a ton of armor. And it's still a fat body with a ton of armor, but with 25% of the health gone, it dies a lot quicker, and it already didn't last that long. Let's be real. So, and a festive hat doesn't help with that. Although I am curious what that looks like. Target Bodon. Let's see it from the other side. Like a good look at it. It is cute. Yep, and it still has 10 armor. But, like, look at this. It just goes down. That is not impressive. And don't get me wrong. Oh my god. Abaddon's actually good again. Because his ability used to be, back in the day, right? Back in the day, that 600 damage nuke was a ton. It was actually crazy. What's the cooldown on this, by the way? 10 seconds? Okay. That's actually pretty good. Fuel Scepter is actually pretty good. I didn't really talk about it too much, but now that I'm watching it get used in a fight, it's really annoying having a really tanky dude just occasionally disable your units just because it can. And it always means stability gets cast. So, yeah. It's actually really good on Abaddon because of how ridiculously tough he is. 10 armor, 4,500 health, and 600 health every 12 seconds. Really good. And now that they decreased it, because when you look at what it used to be, right? If we say that the old health total was, because his health total used to be 6,000. His maximum health total used to be 3,000 at tier 3, if I'm not mistaken. It is now 4,500. So you lost 25% of the current totals, but what that actually means is that from the old values back before the big update, this is still a 50% increase. But that's not enough to change the fact that this is now a good ability again. It used to, because again, 600 when everything got doubled was nothing. 600 when everything is only 50% extra health, pretty good. It used to be insane. So now it's pretty solid. I like it. They brought Abaddon back into relevance, in my opinion, with this change. That was one of his biggest problems, is that his abilities damage literally didn't matter. It just didn't. It wasn't that great. It was pretty bad. With the health totals as they were, you needed strong sustained damage, not like chip AoE damage. It didn't do shit. It occasionally finished off some dudes that Hopkin had overcharged down to 1 health. It occasionally killed them. That's about it. Vladimir's offering. Allies within 2 cells get 10+% damage. Oh. 5 armor and 10% lifesteal. Ooh. That's not 10 damage. That's 10% extra damage. Oh my Jesus. I'm so sorry for going back and forth between this so much, but I want to know what this does. Okay. Does it increase his damage? Yes. Yes, it does. And it gives him lifesteal. Oh, that's interesting. So he's like legit healing now. Not a huge amount, but for someone like him that has big shields, he doesn't honestly need to, does he? Oh, that's interesting. And now everything dies. Yep. Huh. What's the AoE on it? Within 2 cells. That is a huge radius, y'all. That's to here. From here to here. That's massive. 2 cells. That's so much extra damage. I think this item's kind of OP. Honestly. 5 armor? That means your average unit, if it's anywhere near this guy, has 10 armor minimum. Oh, man. Okay.
Leave it to me.
That's crazy. Aeon Disc, new. 500 health. When equipped hero's health is reduced below 50%, they become invulnerable, untargetable, and disarmed for 2 seconds once per battle. That seems pretty straightforward. So it's kind of like a puck effect. 500 health. You know, when they go below 50%, basically they just get rid of all of their targeting, so they don't do anything. Interestingly, it says invulnerable, untargetable, and disarmed. It doesn't say silenced. Okay, just if you're still watching at this point in the video, just understand that this is effectively me testing all of the new stuff. Who do I want to try that on? I need someone with a nice spell. With a nice low cooldown spell. How about a Bat Rider? Like a 3-star Bat Rider. Gets you out of here. I need something for you guys to start targeting afterwards. How about a Beastmaster? Barricade, give. Okay. Stick you back over here. Wait a minute. I was about to say, hold on, we're not even gonna... Wait. I don't even need the primordials anymore. Let's just... I need someone that's gonna get us fixed up without fucking up. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so wait, hold on. I need to see that one more time because I need to see if he's casting during that time. He might be. Also, the overlap looks crazy. It looks like it's using the same anime. It just gets a deeper shade of green. I've never seen that before. Is there anyone with a lower cooldown skill? Tinker 3. Duh. They didn't change you, did they? Okay, cool. I think he might be able to, but it looks like it doesn't really matter anyway, because being untargetable also means that you're not, and disarming means you're not gaining any mana. At least not without the human bonus. I want to try this. Hold on. Barricade. I just need a couple more. Okay, we're gonna put some humans. Crystal. Yep. I don't need you because you're ranged. Melee, melee. Yeah, okay. Because this is what I need to know. This is giving me. Let's try this. Okay, so he moves back. That's interesting. So he stops here. He doesn't quite get the chance. Cast again. What about Shadow Fiend? Hold on. Maybe I'm thinking about this wrong. Because I need someone with a long wind-up. I feel like there's a way to abuse this. By the way, here's another question. Does snacking this give us extra? Doesn't seem to. Interesting. Why can I not target this Omni Knight? Oh, now I can. Weird. I don't think there's a good way to use Aeon Disc that way. At least not that I was able to see. I tried. You guys saw it. I tried. Black King Bar now gains 45 attack damage. Nice. So it's a more functional item. Because it actually provides a general benefit. And I think that's sort of what I'm noticing in this whole thing is that they've switched things around from items that have like a singular, possibly useful thing, like Black King Bar providing the match community, and also saying, okay, we need to figure out a way to also give it a per fight effect. Because Black King Bar isn't actually going to be useful every single fight. 45 attack damage is. So thank you for understanding that. Butterfly, 35 attack damage, 35 attack speed, 35 evasion. Dope. Wasn't there something like this in Tier 1? There was evasion. I could have sworn. Huh. I'm just imagining things. Anyway. I could have sworn there was one that was just like a little bit of everything. Butterfly is going to be good on all the usual suspects. It's going to be good on Slark. It's going to be good on PA. It's even going to be good on something like Drow, honestly, coming from the back line. The evasion isn't going to get used, but this part will. So pretty much anyone that can benefit from high attack speed, high attack damage, and evasion, like actually Lycan, now that I'm thinking about it, that's an awesome Lycan item. That makes him annoying. That makes him real annoying. And the lower health pools actually makes things like Lycan better. Makes Savages a little more impactful for longer. Dagon, cooldown changed from once per battle to 12 seconds. Thank you. Dagon needed something like that. Now this is actually usable even just in general, but especially in mages. Because that was one of the things was, back in the day, when magic damage got doubled from the 100%, you could still kind of use Dagon, because 1600, even in those times, was like still a pretty big chunk of health. Being able to use this like 2-3 times a fight now, pretty good. Pretty good. It's good. Equipped hero attacks Diffusal Blade. Equipped hero attacks burn 20 mana per hit. Nice. Damage done by the equipped hero generates 0 mana for the target. Ooh. Oh, man. Holy crap. Damage done by the equipped hero generates 0 mana for the target. Really? Hold. You guys are going to hate me by the end of this, but you are going to know so much about the fucking... You are going to know so much. How does this work? Boom. Is it not producing... Oh, that's so weird. Hold on. Because if I remove that... Oh my god. That works on... I mean, okay, this isn't like a huge deal, but it's interesting that all of the physical damage coming out from Sven here was not moving onto the other targets. So you put this on like a big dude that's just doing a bunch of attack damage. Holy crap, can you imagine Sniper with this? Oh, that's so good. Especially for something like Slark, potentially. Okay. That's good. That is an awesome item. And unfortunately, we're officially into the final tier that actually matters. Because it sounds to me like tier 5 doesn't happen very often. What? Oh, god damn it. Still Aegis. Alright. Didn't they get rid of Aegis? Wait, what? Aegis of the Immortal Globe. Oh, they got rid of it as a global item. Okay, we'll look at that in a second. Eye of Scotty, same. Healing Ward changed from 3 to 4. Healing Aura. Okay. I actually thought that there were actually situations where the Healing Aura was legitimately good, even at 40. So with lower health pools and the health going up to 50 per second, pretty okay, actually. Moon Shard stays the same. Path of Insight stays the same. Oh, Refresh Orb no longer provides a benefit to allies within one cell. Doesn't really change the usefulness of the item that much. Because typically you'd be putting the Refresher on your highest impact unit, like a Tidehunter, although there's no Tidehunter anymore, at least not for the moment. Let's be real, he's coming back. Seriously, it's fucking Tidehunter. He's iconic. But you put it on something like Tidehunter, and it just gives you double cast. They sort of mixed it in with like an Arcane Boots to provide like double benefits. It didn't really need that, so I'm pretty okay with this, actually. It's a fair nerf that doesn't really hurt the item. It just takes a honestly, on some heroes, takes a bullshit item and makes it less bullshit. So I'm down for that. Scythe of Vice now additionally provides plus 10 mana per second. Okay. Alright. See, this is what I'm talking about. Taking an item that had potentially niche use in certain situations that could be extremely exploitable, but didn't always apply, and giving it a per fight benefit. And like reducing the pig duration while also giving this, totally fine. This is a buff to Scythe of Ice. It is now a much more functional unit, or much more functional item, even though it basically just was a tier 1 item attached to, I mean, kind of a tier 4 effect, because I still think Yule's Scepter is a better item. Because if I'm not mistaken, oh, no, tier 5. Scythe of Ice is once per fight? I use it so little I don't even know. 15-second cooldown. Okay. I still think Yule's is better, personally. Mostly because this is the kind of thing that I would want to put on a backline. Like, this is typically a support item, so the fact that it only reactively pigs people, kind of strange. Because it feels like this is the kind of item that I'm looking at it and I see 10 mana per second. Equipped hero takes damage, transforms offending unit into a pig for 3.5 seconds. I still don't hugely like the design of this item, because it makes me, the support item makes me think backline. The fact that something that I have to take damage for it to get use, because again, if you're using this item, you want to get as many pigs out of it as possible. So that screams to me frontline item. But then I don't need the mana per second. Because, like, a frontliner basically never has mana problems. Like, they're not sitting there wondering, man, where am I going to get mana from? They're just not. So this is potentially useful on something like a Tinker that you can... They're not necessarily a frontline unit, but someone that is going to take some periphery damage, maybe like a second line unit, like right behind the front line. And I think it's sort of the same situation for Yule's, although less so. I think the fact that it's like 5 mana per second actually, to me, screams frontline unit. Just because, again, you don't need a lot of mana per second, but there are situations where, let's say you came into the fight last. You're like a Pudge that, just got to the fight last for whatever reason. You take like a random hit of damage from something, get a little bit of mana, and you've got this as like a backup. So you can put this on one of your wrap units. They're not your main tank that you're putting this on, I think, but someone that's going to come in just like right after the fight starts. Interesting. So to me, Scythe of Ice is a slightly, and I do mean slightly better Yule's Scepter, because the difference between tier 3 and tier 4 is not insignificant. Considering the difference in tier, I still lean towards Yule's being a better overall item, a more useful item, especially since the cooldown's shorter. That cooldown difference is huge. Actually, okay, so if and I'm sorry for spending so much time on this, but I'm really interested in 15-second cooldown. I'm really interested in the effects of that cooldown difference. So if it's 15 seconds versus 12 seconds, 2.5 disable, 3.5 disable. Obviously, 10 mana per second is better than 5 mana per second. It's not honestly, in most situations, I don't think there's a huge difference, because what you really want is the mana per second. There's a reason that the mana per second values on humans are so low. It's mostly because, honestly, past just getting passive mana, there's not a huge benefit. Except for backliners that might have trouble gathering the mana they need. So 2.5. Actually need to break out a calculator real quick for this particular. Give me calculator. You probably can't see this. No, you can't. Okay. Just wanted to verify that with OBS. So you'll just have to trust me a little bit. 2.2 times 100. So 20% uptime. Okay, you know what? I'll be fair. 21% uptime. Just in case there's like a pseudo draw. 3.5, 15. Yeah. And 23%. Okay, so you get an extra 2% uptime with a longer cooldown, but you do get some extra mana per second. Like, seriously, this item is not actually that much better. It's really not. It's almost exactly as disruptive as Yule's is. So the only real reason to pick this, assuming, like, if you somehow get a shop that has Yule's and Scythe of Vice here, you should take Scythe of Vice, but only for the extra mana per second. The disruption factor is negligible. And honestly, I'd rather have it happening faster, even though the uptime is lower with Yule's, because there's the possibility that if we get into a fight, I can get one more hit out of this. Now, they do become invulnerable, but that doesn't really matter. Okay, the invulnerable part actually does sort of matter, because either way, they're, you can still smack them. So, because of the invulnerability thing over here, becoming invulnerable, I think that does make Scythe of Vice overall a better item, but not by much. And it's kind of crazy to me that they basically reprinted the same item with some slightly different benefits that the average player isn't going to take the time to fully understand. I don't like the fact that they left this in if we're going to have Yule's. It just feels like a reprint, in my opinion. Okay, Aegis of the Immortal. Equipped hero will resurrect with 50% of its max health 5 seconds after dying, once per battle. That's crazy. That's awesome. It's tier 5. So, basically, who cares? As much as I hate to say it like that, who cares? This doesn't matter. All of these tier 5s are cool, but I don't think we're basically ever going to see it, is the real problem. Bloodthorn, again, whoever really saw that. Especially if the games are shorter now. That's the main thing. Games are shorter now, by a lot, which makes seeing tier 5 even less likely. On the other hand, it means that they can make these items even crazier. For instance, Radiance now giving enemies a 17% chance to miss their attacks. So, AoE, debuff, along with some decent burn damage. Like we saw with the Poison Orb. The damage was actually okay. In a fight between a Lifestealer and Axe, it was doing like 600, 700 damage. It's alright. Yeah. Satanic, 750 health. Whenever equipped hero is below 30% health, gain 200% lifesteal for 3 seconds. 20-second cooldown. It's... I don't know. It kind of feels a lot like an Aegis, honestly. 750 health. So this would boost most heroes to like 3,000 health. Because I'm trying to think of how you actually use this. This doesn't feel like an item that you put on your average unit. And by average, like if we just, no, hold on. Because all it really gives you is HP. Which, it's good that it does that. But like, it basically just saves you from being destroyed. Except not really. Because this guarantees that you will get 50% of your health back in 5 seconds. And you get like a period of respite. Oh, Tombstone is tier 5 now. Interesting. This, when you're below, not 50% health, where there's still a good chance that you survive, 30% health. And then you get 200% lifesteal for 3 seconds. Unless you get stunned, or disarmed, or disabled, or in any way, at which point this item becomes useless. So, yeah. I'm just saying, it doesn't seem that great. Well, I mean, okay, if you get broken, it's the same thing. I'm sorry, when I said earlier that break was basically a silence for passives, I should have included that it was also items that it did that for. So you could potentially break through Aegis of the Immortal the same way you could Satanic. I don't know. This feels like a tier 4 item. This feels like a tier 5 item. This does not feel like a tier 5 item. It should... Satanic was one of the most powerful items in Dota. This should feel like one of the most powerful items in Underlords. This feels like a slightly below average tier 4. I honestly kind of put it around the same level as Pipe of Insight, because there's so much room for it to just not do anything. You know what I mean? This is the kind of item that I would put on someone like Lifestealer and hope for the best. But he's already lifestealing. You see what I mean? And if I had the choice between this and Mask of Madness, I'm still probably taking Mask of Madness. Just because it's going to get me lifesteal before I get to 30%, you know? Like, it's giving me much more lifesteal over the course of a fight, especially with the extra attack speed. This doesn't feel that great. I don't know. Maybe it's got some awesome use that I'm just not thinking about. Tombstone changed from tier 4 to 5. Okay. And they made the zombies hit a little bit harder. I mean, okay, they actually hit quite a bit harder, especially at tier 2. But, like, Tombstone, okay, if you were going to, if you're going to make Tombstone a tier 5, can we please make it, like, actually tier 5 worthy? Look at this. 1 cell of the Tombstone. If you're going to make it tier 5, you can give it back its 2 cells. It was ridiculous because of the tier it was in. Not because of the effect. Look, when I see a tier 5, I'm seeing items that I'm basically never going to see. So when I do see them, I want them to be interesting. These are about as interesting as tier 4s. Some of them less so. I'm looking at you, Satanic. I'm just saying. This is interesting. Divine Rapier is interesting. Heart of Tarask is interesting. Bloodthorn is interesting. Aegis is interesting. Radiance is even interesting now, because of the mischance. Satanic is not. Shiva's is okay. Like, ish. If we go back over here, items, I go look at Shiva's. I get 10 armor, that's cool. A blasting wave of freezing damage, 250 damage, within 3 cells. That's a big AoE. Okay, so not a lot of damage, but you're mostly hitting there. It's a debuff, fundamentally, where it comes with a bunch of armor. Cool. Slows their movement and attack speed up by 45. Oh man. It's okay. This feels like a tier 4. It does not feel like a tier 5. Just saying. And Tombstone is basically not an item at this point. A tier 5 item is better than Tombstone. I would take any of these items, including Satanic, over Tombstone at this point. The attack damage was not what Tombstone was looking for. You wanted chunky bodies. You want Tombstone to be impactful on tier 5, it needs to have a range of 2, and the zombies need more health. This should feel like a linchpin item, based on the way you're positioning it. It is not a linchpin item. Now, to make my point, look one below. Vesture of the Tyrant. Allies within 1 cell can't die until the equipped hero dies. That's crazy. And then we look back up here. Oh my god. It's terrible, dude. It's freaking terrible. Anyway, I'm going to stop bitching about Shivas and those items. I think that's actually everything. So I'm going to end the video here, now that I think I've covered everything. And yeah, y'all have a great day.